Yes, we are
All right.
recording.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Joe. If you have any questions, you can always put them in the chat. And since we are recording, if you want to leave your cameras off, your mics off for now, that would be great. There's going to be a time at the end for questions if you want to turn your mics on. So let's get started. The first thing that you would need to do if you're using Adobe Express is to sign in. It's really easy to sign in. You would just go to new.express.adobe.com. You will sign in by putting in your TAMUC, right now it's TAMUC anyway, email address, and then click on company or school account. That will take you to your single sign-on. If you are a student, you'll put in your CW ID and password. If you're faculty and staff, you'll put in your AD login and your password. If you have any issues with signing in, you can always get tech support by contacting site by sending an email or calling the help desk. Just to briefly tell you, introduce infographics. We see them all the time. They're used in presentations and assignments. Today, we're going to pretend as if I am an undergraduate student and a professor has asked the class to do an assignment where they present a career that they are interested in and to have an infographic to show while they're giving information about this career. Because I'm a librarian, I chose librarian and library media specialist. I did get all of my information from the Occupational Outlook Handbook, which you can access from the Waters Library A to Z database page. It's open access, so anyone can access it, but that is one way to find it really quick. All right, so what is an infographic? The Oxford English Dictionary just says it's a visual image, such as a chart or diagram used to represent information or data in an easily understandable form. So it's just taking data and making it a little bit more fun to look at in some ways, making a graphic that can quickly convey your data and your information that you're presenting. There are different kinds of infographics. There are so many. It's pretty much anything that you can think of kind of can be an infographic. So as you can tell, I found some examples on Adobe stock. They can be very simple, like bar graphs and charts, a map. There can be some that are a little more intermediate, and then there are some that are really complex. And so here are just a few examples I found. So speaking of, where do you start if you want to create an infographic? You need to know your subject and have your data ready. This will just get you on the right track. You can always browse online. You can Google, which is exactly what I did. I Googled librarian and library infographic. I got some ideas. Also, I looked at Adobe stock, and we're going to briefly go and look at stock.adobe.com. East Texas A&M is a Creative Cloud campus. We have access and can license many of the things found on Adobe stock. We don't have access to everything, but we do have access to quite a bit. And it's really easy to use. Just go up here and do a search. I just did a very simple search like this and came up with just some graphic representations of library that now I can look at these for design ideas, for clip art and media that I could use. There are filters over here to filter it down if you want an image, if you're looking for a template. I will tell you that videos, a lot of those we cannot license. They're behind a paywall, but almost everything else is not. If you need a photo, a vector, an illustration, you can use these filters to narrow down what you want. It's a really good way to kind of get an idea of how to start with your infographic. Another thing that you might want to think about is a color theme. What do you want to bring all of your information together in a way that's pleasing to look at? So one way that you can do that is to use Adobe Color. This is color.adobe.com, and this is the color wheel. There's different parts of Adobe Color, and I would suggest getting on here and playing around and looking what's available and what all you can do with it. One thing I want to show you is that over here you can change the color harmony, and it changes based on what you want. And then also the color mode, if it's going to be a presentation on a screen, you would want RGB. If you're going to print it out, you would want to change it to one of these others. So to use the color wheel, you can just move these around and kind of choose what you want. So as these move, they move together and to find complementary shades. Now, if you find a shade or two that you like, you can always copy the hex code and use the hex code when you're in your Adobe apps. or you can download the whole theme to your library. One thing I do want to point out before I leave Adobe Color is the accessibility tool, which is really good tool to use to make sure that if you're giving a presentation to your class, that everybody in your class will be able to read what is on the screen because you're using the correct color contrast ratio. So this blue and this pink, that looks very bad and fails across the board. If I darken it up, it all passes. Now, sorry to do this to you again, but here how these fail. Right here, it'll tell you that it fails even double A standard. I can choose this right here and it'll say, oh, well, why don't you use this color instead? You can kind of move these around. You can change these to wherever you want them to be. And it'll tell you, see this fails in small, print, large print, and also graphic components. Well, what does pass? This color right here passes in all three categories. You can also go to AAA and see now these two colors did pass for large text and graphic components, but not for regular. It's just it's a really handy tool to use. I do want to show you that for this infographic that I'm going to show you today, I did find a clip art in Adobe Express that I liked, and I saved it, and I'm going to bring it here so that you can see it. And we're going to choose the color theme based on this graphic. Now, there is not very many colors here, so this one was a really simple one. It automatically, when I pulled in the image, put in the colors down here. You can change them, and I will tell you that these won't change very much because there wasn't very many colors in this image. But you can put in a photo of, say you put in a photo of a busy street with cars and stores and people walking. You're going to have lots and lots of colors, and it will choose different colors based on what you choose here, and there will be more variety. I'm going to stick with this first one, this colorful. If you go over here to the right side, it says save to your library. If you have more than one library, you can choose which one. You can give it a name. Since I've already done this once, I have already given it a name. You can name it whatever you would like, and then hit save. This will automatically put it into your library. Now, how do we use it? I'm going to show you. So we're going to go back over here to Adobe Express. Go to the home page. If you've never logged into Adobe Express before, this is what the homepage looks like. If you have logged in before and you've used it before, down here is what you've recently worked on. So you can just click on one, quite easily go to something you've recently worked on. If you all go to something that you've worked on in the past. If you would like to browse templates, you can do that based on what you're working on. You can also search up here, just go in and search. What we are going to do is we are creating this infographic to be presented in class. So I'm going to go ahead and hit presentation, which is going to give me just a blank screen. So it's already set to the size of what a presentation should be set to, your ratio, and it goes ahead here and it puts in some templates. And just if you still wanted to choose one of these for your presentation, you can go here. We're going to go ahead and close this. Now I'm going to change the background color first up here. And what I want to do is pull in that color theme from my library. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to go to your library, which is my library, and see it's right here already. This color theme infographic 2. I'm going to choose this dark color as the background. Now, the first thing that I would like to do is give my infographic, which again is over an occupation I chose. I want to give it a title. So I'm going to go over here to the left side and hit text. And there's different types of text you can choose. You can use them as a template and then change them and update them as you need them. It kind of just gives you a start of what you can do. I want to add my own, so add your own text. I have already practiced this before and I found a font that I really liked. I'm going to go over here to essentially kind of like a properties panel over here and choose a font that I liked. And it was called Railway. And I'm going to go ahead and do bold. I'm going to go ahead and bring that down a little bit. I want it all on one line. Now the smart guides will tell me when I hit center. There we go. Okay, so now we have title, it's centered. We can change the font in different ways over here, and we're going to go through some of them later. I can put an outline on it. Right now it doesn't have one. We could put shadows on it, change the shape. There's different text effects you can do. You can change the opacity just by using these sliders, and everything is really is fairly easy to use and intuitive. I am going to center align it. There we go. Okay, so this is just about librarians and library media specialists, what the profession is. Some of the information that I pulled from the OOH was the median income of librarians in the United States. So I wanted to represent that by putting in a dollar sign. I went down here to elements and I'm just going to search for dollar sign. There's different ones you can pick. You can choose design assets, backgrounds, icons. You can choose through here, view all, and there's going to be lots and lots of different options. I'm going to go ahead and just pick this one right here. It's simple and it works for what I need it for. Now I'm going to add more text right here that has my information that I pulled. So add my own. It's going to default to the last font that we used. I want a different font. So I'm going to go ahead and change this. And I kind of liked this one. And here is information for income that I pulled. And that looks okay. I can make it smaller. One thing that I want to show you is that you can change the text layout. If you see over here, there's one that's kind of really neat. I like it. I think it's my favorite, is dynamic. If you go here, it'll go ahead and capitalize everything, and then it scales the font to fit into your text box. So you see how that changed? Now, if I do something like this, it kind of changes. I like this dynamic. I think it's a lot of fun to play with to see how it changes it. So I can scale it as big or as small as I need it to be. And I'm just going to kind of place it right there, use my smart guides. Next thing that I want to do is add something around it just to give it some color. Another element. I'm going to go to elements. I just want to put a box around it. So I'm going to go ahead and search up here in my elements. I know that I just want a rectangle and I just want a shape. So I'm going to go here. I can draw the shape if I want. I know I just want a rectangle. So I'm just going to choose this right here. Just click on that, click in here. I do not want a fill. So I click on the fill. I'm going to click this one. That gives it no fill. I do want a border. I'm going to choose a color from our color theme. Choose this pink. Now I can make the border thicker and thinner with this slider. I can round the corners if I want. I'm going to leave that there. And I can change the opacity, and there's different blends, different things that you can do. You can just play with it. One thing that I think is kind of fun is you can change the border style. And so I'm going to go ahead and go view all. And I liked this dash dotted. I thought that one was kind of cool. I'm going to make it thinner, smaller, and put it around my text. Just like that. Now, if I want this to be grouped, all I have to do is click and drag my mouse and go ahead and group. And if I go over here, I have to open my layers panel. Now, if you have used Adobe Express in the past, and maybe it's been a few weeks, this is actually kind of a change. It used to be that the layers panel was just open. Now you have to click it for it to be open, but it's still there. It's just not there from the beginning. So you can tell now that these are all grouped together. You can still go into your group and choose each element individually. And also, when I click on it, I can ungroup it and see now it puts each one in its own layer. So it just depends what you want. I think this one makes sense to group because then we can scale it if we want to all at one time. The next thing I want to show you is a chart. So I'm going to go down here to charts and grids. These are always good for infographics. A good way to represent your data is with a chart. We're going to start with a bar graph. I'm going to click on chart here, and I'm going to just choose this bar chart here. It's just simple. And again, I've looked up this information before. So what this is going to be is the percent change in employment rates. And this just happens to be from year to year. This is 2022 to 2023. Just do a simple bar graph here just to show you how it works. Total all occupations had a change of 4%. Librarians had a change of 3%, and curators and archivists at a change of 1%. Now, that's all I have. That's all the data that I have. I just have 3, but I have 4 columns here. I don't need 4. It's really easy to delete. So I just go here and delete this row. And now that's gone. If I want to add another one, add new item. Now I'm just going to change the color of each column. So to match our theme, make this one and then do this blue. And this one isn't in our theme, but we'll just do like this kind of gray color. Now, if you can tell up here, it has the percentage 4, 3, and 1, but those are really hard to see. Again, it would not pass accessibility. That is black font on a dark background. We're going to change it. That's really easy to do. It's right here. And I'm going to change it from black to white. I'm going to go ahead and make a bold. So I can scale it down if I want. Now, what if I want it to look a little different? What if I want the labels down here? Well, that we can do. So you just go to view all. Still want it to be a bar chart, right? If I choose this one right here, it has our labels on the graph, which is pretty cool. So we're going to go with that. Kind of move it over here. I am going to add a little title to that so we know what those numbers represent. And we're going to make that a lot smaller. So we need a lot more information in here before we're done. Okay, another good element for an infographic is a donut graph. So I'm going to show you how to make that. It's done very similarly that we just did with the bar graph. This one is going to be where librarians work. 33% of librarians work in local government. 31% work in schools. State higher ed librarians, which is what I am, makes up 9% of librarians in the US. Private higher ed, librarians make up 8%. And I have one more, which is other, essentially. And so I need to add another label. So I'm going to click right here and it adds it for me. And I'm going to put what it is, which is web search portals, make up 5%. Same with the bar chart, we're going to change the colors. Very, very easy to do. Just to match our color theme that we chose earlier. I apologize. I think the network's running just a little slow today. We'll choose this purple color. Again, the font needs to be changed. It's black because that's what it defaults to. We're going to change it to white. We can change the font to a different font. We can change the size. I'm going to go ahead and bold it. I think Source Sans 3 is fine. I am going to make this a lot smaller because it's taking up way too much space. Now, just like over here where I put this title, I'd like to have a title here, and I think it might be nice to put it in the middle of this donut graph. However, this is kind of a small opening here where this part, the ring part, is really large. I'm just going to click on this, and that just made it, the middle part larger, but left this. And we can go just like with this, we can go and look through the different ones that we want. Okay, I'm going to add another title. So I went to text, add your text. And this is where librarians work, where they work. And again, I'm going to go to text layout and change it to dynamic. Make it smaller and right about there. Okay, so far we have how much they make. We have 2 graphs. Now we need to know what they do. So this is a little bit more text. So I'm going to go ahead and I have this, and this is a direct quote, although I do not cite this correctly or at all, so don't do it this way. But I'm going to go ahead and add a block of text right here, and it's going to come in really big. So I'm going to go ahead and make that a lot smaller because I'm going to have it fit down here in this bottom corner. Okay, now I want this to also have a title because it's just a quote, no context. Instead of adding a text and then changing it to dynamic or changing the font as I would, I'm going to go ahead and just search down here and see, well, what do they have? They have headlines, they have these different signs and labels and speech bubbles and stickers, and they really have a lot to get you started. One that I really like that caught my attention was this, that's captions. And right now there's only 3, but I kind of liked that one. And I'm just going to change what it says. I'm going to change the font color. And then right here, you can see it, there's that. I'm going to go ahead and change that color. There we go. And that's like impossible to see, but I will move it so we can see better. There we go. Again, I think I'm going to go ahead and group it so I can scale it all at the same time without having to do much, except I miss my little rectangle here. There we go. Now, the way that I was able to choose all three, to select all three like that, one by one, was that I was holding shift on my keyboard at the same time. And that's how I was able to get all of those at the same time. If I do something like I did here and I'm like, oh, I forgot this, I need to fix that. Obviously, I can go and move this down, or I can hit Control Z and that will undo whatever I just did. Now, remember that image that I had that I used for my color theme? I'm going to show you how I found that. So what I did, I went back over here to my left side panel and under elements. And this one was a design asset. I'm going to go there and I'm going to type in person holding books. That's just what I decided to search. You can search whatever search terms you want, but I did find right here this image. Gonna kind of put that right around there or so, just as another graphic element. All those down because I have one more thing to put on here, and that is that I did find in the data that the entry-level education is a master's degree. I'm going to go ahead and add that. So I'm going to show you, go back to media, and what I want was just elements. I apologize. And this is, I just wanted to put in a graduation cap to denote education. So they come up pretty quick. You can design assets or icon. Go ahead and put the icon. It defaults to the last color that I used. And I can change this color over here to this purple color. And I can move it just by grabbing that, clicking, dragging, and I can kind of put it where I think it might look good. I want to add a little bit more text. This one, much smaller. And again, that's hard to see. I apologize. There we go. And I'm going to change the text layout, but this time I'm going to use an arch to go around that graduation cap. Right now I'm over here. I'm changing the font here. I can also type in. I can use the plus minus, or I can just click and drag to scale. So I'm going to click, drag that, and put that there. Maybe make a little larger. Turn it just a little, just for fun. And then one last element is the typical entry-level education is a master's degree. And there we have an infographic that gives you an overview of an occupation. Now you can play with this and change colors and fonts and the size and anything that you want. But however, we just did that in about 25 minutes or so. We use something like this in a presentation. Adobe Express makes it really easy. One thing that I do want to show you is that to name your file, you go up here to the top right corner where it says file, and then right here. And this is where you can put in your title, occupation, and then it'll just keep it. It's going to go ahead and save it to the cloud for you. But if you would like to download it, you come over here, click this. You can download it in different file formats. It depends what you need it for. If you need a PDF, you can use that. Or if you want a PNG or JPEG, you can use those as well. Or if you are giving your presentation in class and you can just use Adobe Express there, you can just bring it up here. Like I said, it's saved to your cloud account. And then you can just go here to present. And now it's full screen. That is how you can use Adobe Express to make an infographic. And that's what I have for you today. Does anyone have any questions? All right, Josephine, did we have any in the chat?
I don't see any questions in the chat today.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming. And it was really great showing how to do this today. So thank you so much.